there. It's Friday, November 7th. This is the afternoon shift. I'm Adam Lorenz.
I'm Max Fuller. And you know what? I can't resist the temptation anymore. I gotta bring it back.
You're bringing it back?
Bringing it back.
Yes.
I'm Max Fuller, a.k.a. Max Joe Page.
Yes.
Shout out to the
Negro
League.
Yes.
Satchel Paige, one of the most legendary pitchers in baseball history.
All of baseball.
All of baseball history.
Yes.
A legend. Some of the craziest stories you've ever heard. Those old baseball tales.
Yes.
I mean, they're unbelievable. And Satchel Paige has a whole book full of them, several books full of them.
Yes.
A.k.a. Bullet Frogan.
Okay.
Another famous Negro League player.
Oh, okay.
The winningest pitcher.
Interesting.
Negro League history. The more you learn right here on the afternoon shift.
Yeah.
A.k.a. the light-skinned Jackie Robinson. A.k.a. a million other things. Welcome back to the afternoon shift.
Yes. Yeah. It's Fridays. Is Friday the AKA
day?
Day?
Fridays will be the day. You
Fridays,
know, it's like casual Friday.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be the day because apparently the viewers hate it. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Do you have a sponsorship deal with Alpha Kappa Alpha? Isn't that a sorority? They call themselves AKA.
They do. Yeah.
Thing? Yeah.
I was never a sorority guy.
Okay.
You know, I was never in a sorority. I was never in a frat.
Yep.
Were you a frat guy?
No frats at Notre Dame. No Greek life at Notre Dame. So, yep.
There's none.
None.
Really?
No, I pick up things along the way, but wasn't involved. The dorms are like frats at Notre Dame. At least that's what we like to say.
Okay.
We don't really party. But.
You guys don't? You just do the hazing?
No.
You're not ready to do that?
It's very tame.
Okay.
Very.
I can't imagine that it was.
Yes.
Too crazy.
Extremely tame. Yes. Yeah.
Were you in a sorority, Grace?
Yes.
No, I was for like 2 weeks. I never was initiated, but I did have a bid. I went to the University of Missouri for one semester and then ended up transferring out. But I had a dip in the water of sorority life and just it wasn't for me.
Did they try to make you do something crazy and you were like, nah?
No, they didn't. I can't say that they did. But yeah, my mom and dad actually, my mom was the president of her sorority at Florida State.
Wow.
And then my dad he ended up eventually kind of being a running part of Greek life at Florida State. So I was bred for Greek life, so I kind of disappointed my parents in that regard.
I think your parents partied pretty hard if
they must have.
Presidents at Florida State.
Seriously.
My goodness, yeah.
The president of partying is what she was.
Yes. Grace didn't mention that she's going to party tonight because today is her birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Grace.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
It's been a fun day. Adam bought us Jimmy John's. I love Jimmy John's.
That was Mom. Mom did that. Yes.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Lawrence.
Yes.
That was very nice.
Yes. No, it has been a good day.
Yeah.
So we like to
Grace
celebrate.
Can finally buy cigarettes now. She's finally 18 years old.
That's right. And for your birthday, none of us will be here.
None of us will be here. We'll all be gone. That's my gift to the whole show. None of us will be here on Christmas Day. At least I hope not.
We don't all. No, it's
confirmed.
It's confirmed.
Okay. Great.
I think you said you're still working though Christmas Day.
Yeah, I'll be at the radio station.
Yes.
Because the Minnesota Vikings just
yes.
I had to play on Christmas. I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves play on Christmas as well.
Oh.
I believe so. Maybe even
double shift. Yes.
Double duty.
Yes.
Just how I dreamed it up.
You're right. You're dreaming of a white Christmas, and you're gonna get it. Yes. It'll be some kind of Christmas.
Some kind of Christmas. Hopefully, I can at least get one W.
Yes.
Between the two teams for my birthday.
Yes. You know, one of the big things we're going to be talking about during today's show is the Vikings game this weekend, which is back on Fox 9. The Ravens are coming to town. The Baltimore Ravens, Sunday at noon on Fox 9. One of the bigger games of the NFL Week 10 slate here, so
Absolutely.
It's a big thing, yes.
Kind of crossroad game for both teams.
That's right.
A little bit more so for the Vikings. I think they kind of are in more
yeah.
need of a win. They kind of have to rack up as many wins as possible in a cutthroat NFC North and NFC playoff picture at large. Whereas the Ravens, I mean, even when I think they had one win and they were still favored to win the AFC North. It's kind of a reverse situation. They really only have to set their sights on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had a really impressive win against the Indianapolis Colts last week. They've been pretty, above serviceable all year. Aaron Rodgers has looked like he's back. But that's really the only people that the Baltimore Ravens have to keep in mind. Even if they lose tonight, or on Sunday, I should say, they're probably still going to be favored to win the AFC North. But this is more a barometer for the Baltimore Ravens, who came into the season with title expectations, Super Bowl expectations. So if they want to still achieve that ceiling, those heights, they got to get past a formidable formidable team like the Minnesota Vikings, who put the Detroit Lions in a box last week.
They sure did. They sure did. It will be the battle of the purple in Minnesota this weekend. The two
Purple
NFL
off.
teams that really rock the purple, and it should be a really fun matchup. Both Lamar Jackson and J.J. McCarthy both playing well in previous week last week. So this will be fun.
It'll be great, man. And I love seeing Lamar Jackson. I try to go out of my way to watch Ravens games as much as possible, anyways, because he's one of the most exciting players in the NFL.
Yep.
So it's going to be awesome to have him at U.S. Bank Stadium. Hasn't faced a Brian Flores-led defense in I think like 4 years.
Yes,
something like 3 or 5 years. So we'll see. But apparently he's been pretty damn good against the blitz this season. But we'll see how JJ fares against a formidable Baltimore defense. Not the Baltimore defenses of old.
Right.
When you think of Ray Lewis,
Yep.
Ed Reed, guys like that.
Yep.
But it's still a formidable Ravens defense nonetheless, and a great Ravens team. And Lamar Jackson is the exact kind of quarterback that has given the Vikings fits. These mobile quarterbacks, whether it be Caleb Williams, whether it be Michael Penix Jr., who's not as mobile but still is an athletic quarterback, these kind of second chance opportunities. The Vikings have a lot of missed tackles this season. They've been able to kind of get pressure on the quarterback, but not necessarily contain them. So that does not bode well. Hopefully the defense can get after Lamar Jackson. And there's so many people back there that doesn't even have a chance to pull off one of his, patented juke moves. Because just like, man, watching him in the open field it's a spectacle.
Right. This will also be the Vikings' second matchup this season against a Harbaugh-led team. The first Harbaugh game did not go so well. That was the Chargers with Jim. Now he's got his older brother John coming to town. So that's another kind of a little bit of a storyline going into this one too.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully they can go 1-for-1 in the Harbaugh Bowl, the little mini Harbaugh series, I should say, throughout the season. Because this is obviously a huge game for the Minnesota Vikings. You have a bunch of divisional games still in the very near future, and among some other really tough matchups.
That's right. Another big story that we're looking at today: the nominations are out for the 2026 Grammy Awards. Kendrick Lamar. He is leading all artists. He's got more nominations than anybody. Yep, I think he's got 9 of them, including record, song, and album of the year. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. His just like last couple of years of dominance continues. I mean, really just honestly a decade plus of dominance from Kendrick Lamar, who's been the standard of excellence, not just in hip hop, but in music in general. And I think obviously an artist that was not underground or unknown by any means, but that Super Bowl performance coupled with the much publicized feud with Drake took him to a different kind of echelon, man. Like people all around the world. Like I was telling you guys off the air today, I met a guy in Slovakia. He's from Georgia, the country, not the state. Barely knew any English, but he knew Kendrick Lamar. And he knew he didn't like Drake. But he knew he liked Kendrick Lamar's music, man. This guy probably knew like 30, 40 English words, and Kendrick and Lamar were 2 of them. And so this guy, his outreach in terms of music is just you can't even imagine it, man. So there's no better standard bearer for hip hop. There's a reason that he's been so popular, not just with hip hop fans, but within the hip hop community. He's kind of a rapper's rapper. And usually you say that about someone that's like kind of lesser known. You say, oh, he's a whatever, an athlete's athlete, a coach's coach, blah, 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 blah. And that's usually describes someone that's lesser known. But man, everybody in the industry likes him and respects him. All the fans like him and respect him, and he's getting the accolades to back that up.
No doubt. We'll look forward to the Grammy Awards in February. Also coming up in this hour, like I said, this is a story that we've been tracking the last few days. MSP, it's one of 40 airports that's seen some flight reductions beginning today. Our good friend and Fox 9 colleague Leon Purvis is at MSP Airport. We're going to be going to him next. We talked to Brian Wacker of the Baltimore Sun. Gave a little Ravens-Vikings preview. And then Joel Reichow, he was the top U.S. men's finisher at the New York City Marathon this past Sunday.
Holy cow.
He'll be joining us in studio. It's awesome. He's running the marathon in about 2 hours and 9 minutes.
How is that even possible?
It's incredible.
He's
like one of the best runners, arguably the best men's runner in the United States. He'll be joining us in studio.
I cannot wait to
It's
talk
crazy.
To him. I can ask him. My first question is how the hell?
Yes.
That's it.
It's
just how the hell.
Hopefully he has an answer for that. Leon Purvis live at MSP Airport is coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Today is day 38 of the government shutdown, and it's the airline travelers that are really seeing the effects of it now.
Yeah, we talked about it. We've been covering it all week, actually, and it's finally really starting to hit. They're saying up to 10% of flights have been either like delayed or canceled in over 40 different airports. And obviously, it's those airports that are being directly affected, but it's every airport in the country that's feeling the ripple effects.
No doubt. Those 40 airports, those are the biggest airports in the country, folks. ORD, LAX, JFK, LGA, MSP included in that mix. Fox 9 reporter Leon Purvis is at MSP. There he is. What's up, Leon? How are you?
Hey, Adam and Max, I'm good. Just here at the airport, and I don't know if you can actually see it behind me. There's people actually checking in to their flights. Also, some people out the Delta desk. So it seems like a pretty busy evening so far.
What's the sense there? Are you seeing a lot of passengers that seem like they're stranded or frustrated? What's the sense that you're getting there?
Not a whole lot of frustration as of now. I mean, a lot of flights are on time. And I mean, I went down the line here where the check-in is and asked people, hey, are you waiting for a flight? Did your flight get canceled? A lot of people said they're actually waiting for someone to pick them up. But there were some people who were waiting for a flight to Canada that got delayed. Also, I checked at the departure board. This is how you can check things out over here. The departure board tells you everything. It tells you if flights are canceled and delayed. And I saw a canceled flight for Chicago, also a canceled flight for DC. So there are some cancellations and delays, but not a whole lot. That board mostly says on time for most flights. So again, it's a very fluid situation. So you just have to keep aware of what's going on by checking either Flight Aware or your flight status to be up to date, whether for traveling this weekend or into next week.
Leon, are there more cancellations to come, or are we kind of do we have the gist of it for at least the next couple of days?
Well, so far what we do know is, here at MSP, there is a Delta hub, right? And according to Delta, so far for this weekend, cancellations for November 7th to 9th have been completed, right? So that's what they tell us right now. So we don't know what could happen into next week. Also, we're still waiting to get word from other airlines and what their plans are. We're going to be also checking with American Airlines and also other airlines that are also in this airport as well.
Leon, MSP, like we said in the open here, it's one of 40 airports nationwide that's seen some flight reductions beginning today. What is the sense in that when you think that something like this is going to end? Do you think when the government shutdown does end, do you think that the airline situation will become more fluid and things will start opening up more?
That's a great question. Actually, someone I talked to last night, because I was here last night, someone I was coming from Florida had said that they're actually anxious on whether they'll be able to fly back home on Monday. And they said they believe everyone in Congress should get their act together so workers can get paid and so there can be smooth air travel. But right now in Congress, it seems to be a standstill on both sides of the aisle, and no one has budged as of yet.
Leon, I know you're mostly focused on the Delta hub right there. What has Delta's response to all of this been? How are they making things smooth for travelers that may be experiencing these kind of delays or cancellations?
Exactly. And one thing that Delta is doing, the fare difference waiver expanded to include book travel through November 14th. And also, they're updating customers throughout the day and throughout the weekend on their flight status. And they also are pointing to customers to go to Flight Aware. So, again, it's a fluid situation all the way around each and every day. And a lot of people are having angst and anxiety over this uncertainty when it comes to air travel.
Leon, perhaps the most important question for you, will the Eagles be able to fly to Green Bay on time? Is that flight going to be on time?
Oh, my God. Well, I haven't checked their Instagram or social media just yet, but I'm pretty sure that the Eagles will get to Lambeau Field in time for the Packers game. And for those that are Vikings fans, they're probably rooting for the Eagles to beat the Packers in Monday Night Football. So fingers crossed. Hopefully Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles will be able to make it to Lambeau Field. in time. You got me with the got you there question, Adam.
In all seriousness, the Minnesota Star Tribune story about all of this, they quoted a number of passengers coming in from DC and Baltimore coming to the game this weekend.
Really?
Some of them concerned about getting back to the East Coast after the Ravens-Vikings game. So this is a big part. Football travel, college football, NFL football. It's a big thing this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
Let's hope the Eagles get there as late as possible. Again, I can't root for the Eagles. I can't root for the Packers. I hope they both lose, Leon.
But, Max and Adam, you guys actually have a point there that, the Sunday and Monday travel is something definitely to look out for as the standstill continues. And it's okay, Max, if you don't root for the Eagles. My feelings will not be hurt, But, if they go back to the Super Bowl and I come into the office,
you can have an Eagles-themed show on the afternoon shift if they win the Super Bowl. Leon, say you were worried about the Eagles' flight to Green Bay. Where can you go to check out and make sure your flights are all good?
Well, FlightAware is the best way to check. And again, the departure board that I just showed you guys earlier. And also just check your flight status with your airline, whether if it's Delta, whether it's American. And again, I'm going to show you this departure board again. Whenever you come to MSP, you can go right here to this departure board to see what your current flight status is. Also, a lot of the airlines are also texting and emailing customers to know what their exact flight status is. And I can even see it from here. The white means that flights are on time, right? And then the yellow means that it's a delay time or a canceled time. So, between the white and the yellow, that's what you have to look out for when you're looking for your flight number, what city you're going to, and to see what the status is. So it's right here on the departure board, right as soon as you walk into Terminal 1. That's where we're at MSP right now. So
and Leon,
that's the best way to do it, Max and Adam.
Perfect. Yeah, and if you got a flight tonight, Leon, I know you're not far from that security line right there. Does it look like it's a very long line?
Well, from over here, the line doesn't seem to be super backed up. I've flown out of this airport before. Actually, we had a closer look at the security line. I've flown out of this airport before, and usually the security line is more backed up typically when I travel. So because I'm not traveling today, maybe it's just a shorter line today. Who knows? But yeah, so it doesn't seem to be super backed up right now. As you can see, people are actually going through there pretty smoothly right now as you see them entering in. Again, today is the first day of this 10% cut of flights, so it could, ramp up over the weekend or into next week. There's a lot of uncertainties, so make sure that you're checking everything if you plan to travel this weekend or Monday.
Hey, Leon, where would you go if you could catch a flight anywhere right now?
Two places, to Lambeau Field for the Eagles game, take a flight to Green Bay, or Charlotte, North Carolina, to hang out with my nephew and my family. So.
Oh, that's very wholesome answer. One terrible answer and one very wholesome, great answer. Thanks, Leon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Leon. Look, it looks pretty good at MSP. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to lie. Looks like things are going pretty smoothly.
Yeah,
there.
That board looked great.
Yeah.
No line.
Pretty
It's
dang
security.
normal, yeah.
And it's a Friday, too.
Right.
Maybe
I
just
should catch a flight.
Well, maybe all this news kind of scared some people off, and now it's kind of opened it up a little
bit. Might be a good time to go check out those flight prices.
Yeah, what's like the latest you've ever booked a plane ticket? Like before, like you book it and then it takes off, like a few hours.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, because a lot of my flights when I'm overseas, I'll go to another country and I'll just be like, it'll be the day before. Yeah, it'll be like hours before. It'll be the night before. I'll just be like, looks like this is cheap. Bloop 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 bloop. All right, cool. I'm going to Croatia.
Yeah.
So I just live life on the edge that way.
I dig it.
You don't ever do that? You plan it months ahead, weeks ahead. What's the latest you've ever booked a flight?
I mean, so let's take away like emergencies.
Yeah,
like I gotta get there. Usually it's at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. But
have you ever had a flight get canceled?
I've had a flight to get canceled before.
Yeah.
I've gotten stranded before.
It's the worst feeling.
It's not fun.
It is not fun.
But I would like to do the whole live on the edge one time.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people, they show up to the airport and they pick out a flight that's taken off in like 4 hours. They're like, I'm gonna go to that one.
That's great. I mean, people back in the day used to just show up to that's when they bought their ticket. There was
Right.
no buying your ticket
Right.
at a time. You just showed up to the airport and bought your ticket. To me, that's just kind of insane. You could be
yes.
planning a 2-week vacation. You don't even know if you're going to get your ticket.
Right.
That would be so anxiety inducing for me. But I don't know. Sometimes you plan months ahead, and other times it depends because the ticket prices, sometimes they're the best to get ahead of time, and other times it's like a week and it's like, oh, this is not that bad.
Yep, 100%. Thank you to Leon Purvis for that live report.
Yeah.
It looks like MSP is doing pretty fine right now. We'll see if that maintains.
But I know lots of airports around the country have been really affected by this thing.
Yes. And shout out to all the people, all the employees at MSP for keeping it looking great like it is right now.
Right.
MSP consistently gets ranked, if not one of the top airports in the United States. And I think days like today are really reasons why. So
for sure. I mean, again, consistently ranked as one of the best airports in the country, probably in the world, I would bet, as well. And then they're making sure everything's all smooth right now. I think I'm reading right here that only 4% of domestic flights are set to be cut today. International travel is not really being impacted at this time. On Tuesday, they say the number is going to get jumped up to 6%, kind of increasing every day until that full 10% drop in air traffic control by Friday. But again, I don't know if we mentioned this at the top, but they are meeting right now.
Yes, they are
convening
they are.
now, and I believe they're going to vote on possibly ending this government shutdown. And of course, if that happens, we'll get you right to that. All the latest news and information on that from all the experts. But hopefully, I can get this thing figured out, man, before it gets to that 10% mark, and we can get these air traffic controllers the money that they rightfully have earned.
Yeah, I feel like stuff like this. It wouldn't surprise me if something like this happened in a couple hours, like Friday, like late afternoon. I feel like news like this always kind of just gets breaks, kind of like.
With our luck, it'll happen right at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Come on, government politics. I mean, come on.
Right.
You can do this.
Right.
The next hour.
You can do it right now.
Minutes, right. You can do it right now. You can do it right now. Yes. I'm not going to trip about it. You know, I will gladly give up the reins to the experts so they can break all of that down, because that would be amazing. And hopefully they can. I've read mixed, conflicting things. Some people have hope. Some people say it could keep going for longer, but let's hope, because there's forget the politicians, leave the government, the politics out of it, leave the he said, she said, they said, whoever said out of it. The people are getting affected by this.
Yeah, people aren't getting paid.
People aren't getting paid.
People are going hungry.
And it's not just one. Yeah, people are not getting their SNAP benefits. People are not getting paid. And now it's not just the one paycheck, which is already, could be colossal for a lot of people. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, especially that second paycheck. Man, we got to get this thing figured out. We got to get it figured out ASAP.
Absolutely. We will continue to cover the government shutdown here on the afternoon shift. We're going to move to previewing the Ravens-Vikings game. We are going to talk to Brian Wacker. He is the lead Ravens reporter for the Baltimore Sun. Coming up right after this. This should be a good combo. Behind enemy lines. That's what we're calling this
series.
We've
been calling it. You've been getting a great guest every single week from all these competing markets, and no better person to talk to than Brian in Baltimore.
Yes, Ravens-Vikings preview coming up next. Don't go anywhere. big day here in Minnesota, Max.
Huge day. It's a battle of the purple.
It is a battle of the purple.
Vikings versus Ravens. You look like you're about to hop in the game with this jersey on, dog.
I got a little gold tint here, so that's where my allegiance is. But the Ravens, of course, are purple and black. The Vikings, purple and gold. This is a great matchup. Both teams won last week.
Absolutely, and hopefully the Vikings don't end up black and blue.
That's right.
After this Sunday's game.
That's right. Here to give us a little preview of Sunday's matchup is the lead Ravens reporter for the Baltimore Sun, Brian Wacker. Brian, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you?
Thanks for having me, guys.
We appreciate you joining. Look, the Ravens, you guys have won 2 straight after starting the season 1-5. Right now, you are currently the favorites to win the AFC North, despite being 500. Why is it so much that the books still like the Ravens to ultimately get it done this year?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think it's one, you look at the rest of the division. Certainly, teams like Cleveland and Cincinnati really don't feel like they're going anywhere. And then Pittsburgh, you've seen them kind of slide back these past couple of weeks and maybe not play as well of late as they did earlier in the year. And then the second part of that, of course, is the Ravens. As you mentioned, they've won 2 in a row now, beating the Dolphins, beating the Bears. Defenses seem to maybe turn the corner a little bit after struggling quite a bit the first month of the season. They had a number of injuries. Of course, Lamar Jackson was out for a few games. So you add all that together and, it feels like this Ravens team has turned the corner. But I'm with you guys. I think this is a huge game and really a huge litmus test to see if the Ravens really have turned the corner.
Kind of off the back of Adam's question there is obviously the Ravens coming into this year, they got Super Bowl expectations. A lot of fans, a lot of people in the media think it's a Super Bowl or bust type year after the really rocky start to the season. You got 2 wins straight now. Do you think the ceiling is still the same for this Ravens team?
That's a good question. I think that's a lot to ask at this point. Certainly I think the expectation coming into the year was, certainly from outside the building, Super Bowl or bust. But I think there's still a lot of question marks about this Ravens team, be it the offensive line, be it the defense, and whether they're able to put pressure on J.J. McCarthy and other quarterbacks. Whether they're able to come up with turnovers and stops and sacks. Only one team, guys, has fewer sacks than this Ravens defense, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So to me, this sort of feels like, at best, a team that's maybe building toward momentum and making a late season run. But again, I don't see it yet. I think there's still too many questions that need to be answered. And, talking about this game in particular with Minnesota, Minnesota's a much different, more difficult challenge than a team like Miami, certainly, and even Chicago. And I think we saw that last week, of course, with the blitz and all the pressure that Minnesota brings and what Brian Flores does. Of course, everyone here in Baltimore remembers 4 years ago, Brian Flores was the coach of the Dolphins, and they blitzed the daylight out of Lamar Jackson down in Miami in a big upset. Held the Ravens to just 10 points back in that 2021 game, which was a season low. So to me, I think this is kind of a good marker to see where Baltimore is at and if they can actually continue their ascent toward a team that could be considered a serious Super Bowl contender.
Let's talk a little bit about Lamar Jackson. He's back, 4 passing touchdowns last week, and a win against the Dolphins. You just mentioned the Dolphins with Brian Flores there. Max and I, we were really scratching our heads over the stat: 23-4 career record versus NFC teams, which is just incredible. Yeah. Truly amazing. What do you expect from Lamar coming back this week? Do you think he's 100% healthy? I would think that Flores is going to bring the pressure on him again.
Yeah, certainly Lamar seems to be healthy. He says he's healthy. He looked healthy in Miami. There was a little bit of rust, I feel like, maybe early in that game with a couple of passes that were off the mark. But I would expect him to play well. But it'll be fascinating because, as you mentioned, Brian Flores is going to bring it. He's going to bring the blitz. And last week against Miami, Lamar was really good. Completed, I think, 9 of 10 passes or 9 of 11 passes. 3 touchdowns against that Miami blitz. Of course, Miami's blitz, a lot different than what Minnesota does, as you guys know and saw in that game in Detroit last week. And you mentioned that NFC record. One of those losses, of course, came earlier this year to the Lions here in Baltimore, where they, again, brought a ton of pressure. I think they had 30 pressures maybe in that game and sacked Lamar a career high 7 times, or tying his career high. So I would expect kind of a similar blueprint to what Detroit did. Whether they have that success, who knows? But, this offensive line has been a struggle, particularly in pass protection. So it's going to be imperative for Lamar to get rid of the ball quickly, for his receivers to run their routes quickly and kind of adjust and adapt as needed in those hot routes and things like that. So I do expect him to be sharp because, no quarterback in the league has been better against the blitz this year than Lamar Jackson. Has the best passer rating against it. Of course, Jared Goff has also been really good against the blitz this season. We saw it happen there. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Now, the Ravens know what they got in their QB, Lamar Jackson. Same position on the other team. The Vikings are still trying to figure out what they have in J.J. McCarthy. Everybody here has mixed opinions. Some people think he's the savior of the franchise. Some people are still, the jury's still out. I'm curious from the outside looking in, what are your thoughts on J.J.?
Yeah, I think, look, he's essentially a rookie quarterback, and so you're going to have some ups and downs with him at this point. But one of the things I think that'll be fascinating to watch with him this weekend is his mobility. The Ravens have often had struggles with teams that have mobile quarterbacks, and of course, J.J. McCarthy is certainly that. And they've had trouble containing the edges this year in particular. Now, they did bring in Draymond Jones in a trade. They made it just before the trade deadline. So that should help both with him being able to play inside and outside as a guy who can maybe, bring some pressure on McCarthy and kind of help keep him contained. Jones is obviously a very good run defender as well. So to the point about kind of containing those edges, I think that will be imperative for Baltimore to do that because, again, that's something they've kind of struggled with at times this year. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if J.J. McCarthy is a guy who could hurt Baltimore with his legs.
Brian, the Ravens defense only allowed 24 combined points over the last 2 weeks. You mentioned their struggles sacking the quarterback, the second fewest sacks in the NFL, and some of the challenges they'll face with JJ this week. Do you feel like maybe kind of like the Ravens offense with Lamar, that maybe the defense is kind of turning the corner? I mean, I think when most people think of the Ravens, you think of defense first. Ray Lewis, like guys like that. You think they're turning the corner there too?
Certainly better than they were earlier in the year. Part of that is injuries. I mean, at one point they were playing 5 rookies starting on defense earlier this year. And so to me, they're fully healthy, essentially. Now, they do have a couple of guys that they're without. And Nnamdi Madubuike is lost for the season with a neck injury. The talented defensive tackle, Broderick Washington, just underwent an Achilles surgery. So that leaves them a little thin in that group up front along that defensive line. But one addition that's been really, I think, enormously helpful to them of late was trading for Alohi Gilman, the safety from they brought in from the Chargers, sent out outside linebacker Odafe Owe in that deal. And what that's allowed is Baltimore to kind of return to their 3 safety looks that they really prefer on defense. Earlier in the year, they've been playing a lot of 2 safety looks. They lost Ardarius Washington before the season started, so they never really replaced that third safety. And so they were going with a lot of 2 safety looks, which is not really what they like to do. But by going with 3 safeties, that allows them to bring Kyle Hamilton, of course, the sort of unicorn, uber talented, all pro defender, play him closer to the line of scrimmage. They can bring him on the blitz. We've seen them do that a number of times in the past couple of weeks. And that's really disruptive for opposing offenses. So Hamilton is a really, really good player, smart player. And so I think having him, being able to move him around as sort of a queen on the chessboard and play multiple positions, be it on the back end all the way down into the box, is a huge help for this defense. Because, again, they're just not generating a ton of pressure on quarterbacks. And if you do that against even a guy like J.J. McCarthy, that could be problematic, especially with guys like Justin Jefferson on the other end of that. So to me, I think they've turned the corner a little bit, but it'll be interesting, again, to see how Draymond Jones factors in and how they're able to kind of, move forward in this next phase with their defense.
Brian, I was reading the Baltimore Sun this morning, and I was reading the predictions, and the only person that picked the Vikings to win was this guy, Brian Wacker. What's up with this guy? Well, what makes him think that the purple and gold are going to come out on top against the purple and black?
I just look at that game against Detroit, and I came away really impressed with what Minnesota did. And again, I just don't know that I'm fully sold on the Ravens completely having turned the corner yet. I mean, certainly they played well against the Bears. They even played well against the Rams in a loss a few weeks ago here in Baltimore. So at least defensively they did. And of course, Lamar Jackson did not play in that game. So anytime you take Lamar out of the equation, look, I get it. That's going to hugely impact this offense in a negative way. And so all that said, I just like what Minnesota does defensively. I think can cause problems. I also think that crowd noise could be a bit of a problem. This is an offensive line, particularly on the interior, that has struggled with pass protection with their two guards. So I kind of like this as a back and forth, really tightly contested game. And you don't really see the Ravens too often kind of come out on the other end of those really close games. Usually they're a very good front running team. They kind of like to put teams away early and then kind of hang on or just step on their throats a little bit. So to me, I like Minnesota at home with that defense. J.J. McCarthy playing, pretty well. He obviously made some mistakes last week, but I think he played well enough. And I just think with Justin Jefferson and what Minnesota does defensively with all those defenders, is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Ravens.
Brian, finally, and most importantly, can you send Max some crab cakes from Maryland?
Well, you certainly look. If you're going to get crab cakes, you want to get them in Maryland. You don't want to get them in Minnesota. But if you guys have any great restaurant recommendations on Minnesota cuisine, it's been a few years since I've been there, so looking forward to coming back in that environment. And I think this is, you guys said it at the top. I think this is a really big game for both teams, trying to kind of make their way forward, and we've seen some progress, and it's a good litmus test, really, kind of for both teams. It feels like, and so, I feel like this is going to be a really, really good game and an important game for both clubs.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. You're the lead Ravens reporter for the Baltimore Sun. Safe travels here to Minnesota. We'll look forward to the game on Sunday.
Grab a Juicy Lucy while you're here.
Yes.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
That's awesome. You know what? What's like the one when somebody asks for like a restaurant? I think we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah,
but like,
it's tough.
Is it tough?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. There's not just like one standout shine. I mean, if someone asked you to give me one restaurant in L.A. or New York, would you have just one just off the top of your head? It's like it's tough.
It's tough.
Minneapolis
There's
has
a lot.
Sneaky good food scene.
There's a lot. Yeah.
It's got an underrated food scene.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. Yeah. There's great food here.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to this game on Sunday. It's right here on Fox 9 at noon. I think the pregame coverage on Fox 9 starts at 10 a.m. So get it in your calendar, folks. It's honestly one of the best games of the entire week slate for the NFL.
For sure. And sometimes, the NFL slate is there's some stinkers. There's some weeks where you're just like, man, it feels like there's no good games. This week, there's a lot of really intriguing games.
Yes, absolutely. Ravens, Vikings right here on Fox 9 on Sunday. All right, we will continue with the afternoon shift right after this. the afternoon shift. Max, it's not often that we could say we have like one of the top athletes in the United States in studio with us. Oh, you.
Every
You
day.
every day.
Me.
That's right. That's right. How could I forget? Yes.
7-time Afro picking champion of the United States.
Yes.
Get it right.
Yes,
okay?
yes. How about the top American men's finisher at the New York City Marathon?
That's
this past
also
weekend?
pretty damn impressive.
Pretty good. He's from St. Paul. His name is Joel Ryko, and he joins us here on the afternoon shift. What's up, Joel? How are you?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, dude, the top U.S. men's finisher in the New York City Marathon. You got your medal on there. How was it? Let's just talk about your timing here. 2 hours, 9 minutes, 56 seconds, folks. 6th place overall. That's a 4:58 mile. I mean, this is incredible, Joel. Just talk to us about the experience.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think a lot of people did not have me in their like top lists, so it was good to make myself known and kind of compete with some of the top people in the world and compete with some of the top U.S. runners too.
That's crazy that you say that. That a lot of people wouldn't have had you there because like. Obviously you're talented. I mean, obviously you're amazing. You got the accolades to back it up. And when I was looking you up earlier, I saw your coach said he called you the best runner that no one has ever heard of. Do you like it that way, or do you want a little attention?
I mean, even if nobody knew who I was, I never got noticed, I would still love competing. But it is cool to get some recognition now, and it obviously helps like with brand image and things like that. Right. So I really appreciate all the love that I've gotten from everybody from this performance.
Yeah.
Has this just boosted your performance? You're getting all the IG followers up, people sliding in the DMs and whatnot?
Yep.
We need to get you more love around the Twin Cities. I mean, Joel's from St. Paul. Minnesota Wild, if you're out there, this guy needs to drop the puck.
Let's play hockey.
Yeah, Vikings, he needs to ring the Gallagher, like the whole deal.
That'd be sick, yeah.
So talk to us about the course for the New York City Marathon. It's a very difficult course.
Yeah.
Can you talk? It starts in Staten Island, it hits all 5 boroughs.
Yep.
It ends in Central Park. Just talk to us about the course.
Yeah, so the race starts out on the Staten Island Bridge. You go straight uphill for about a mile, and then you come back down. And that kind of sets the tone for the race. I feel like between all the bridges, it's pretty flat, but some of the bridges can get a little tricky.
How do you prepare for that? Like, do you run the exact route and kind of like what's your the night before? What's that like? I've heard some of these legendary stories about the meals you guys eat the night before.
I just keep it simple, just whatever is not going to bother my stomach. In terms of like preparing for the race, we try to get in some more hills for this build-up just because we knew the course is challenging.
What's like your go-to night before a big race meal?
Just like pasta. I know that's not going to bother my stomach. Sometimes lasagna, things like that.
There's a lot of very amateur runners out there that are probably watching right now. They're wondering, like, what kind of shoes does this guy wear? What kind of socks does this guy wear? I mean, how does a real marathoner like yourself, what are you outfitting yourself with?
I mean, it's different for everybody. It has to be a shoe that works for you. For this race, I ended up using the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. I'd done one workout in it, but I work in a shoe store, so I had a chance to try it on and walk around in it and make sure it felt good. And after that workout, I was like, this feels amazing. This feels right for me. We're just going to save this for race day. And then trainers, I've also been using ASICs quite a bit, so I've been using the Glide Ride Max. It's just comfortable. It's got a nice rocker to the forefoot, and it's pretty versatile.
Works in a shoe store.
Wow.
Works in a shoe. That's
Right.
that's your day job, working in a shoe.
Yep.
So you've got 50-year-old dudes coming in wanting to put on some New Balances and
Yep.
getting advice from you, and you're like, dude, I'm one of the best runners in the whole country, right? I mean, you telling them that?
I don't tell people that really.
You should. I would.
There's a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
start
people.
telling people I know you, just so somebody's bragging about you.
It's funny. A lot of people will be like, "Do you run?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I do a bit."
Yeah, a little bit.
If they dig more, then I'll tell them. But typically, I don't brag about myself very often.
Respect. I would. That's why I'm not good at anything. I totally would. It's like one of those movies, like the Hitman in those movies. It's like, don't mess with them. He's like, yeah, I fought somebody once or twice back in the day. And then they show a compilation of him just kicking ass for years and years and years. That's what Joel is. He's like a sneaky, hidden assassin.
Definitely
if you will. I'm curious, like when you get top, like, when you're ranking in the top, 5, 10 of these races, you're winning these races. Are there like prizes, or like what's kind of like, what is the goal? What what is next? Like, what are you shooting for? What are the accolades for when you win one of these things besides that sweet gold medal that you got?
So New York had like really nice prize pool because it's one of the biggest marathons in the world. It's one of the world majors. So the individual prize money or the overall prize money for 6 was like 10,000, and then
Sweet.
American only prize money was like 25,000. So it's a very nice payday. It helped a lot.
Hell yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so you're on the track, LA 2028, the Olympics. They're coming to the United States. How can you get there for 2028? We still got 3 years to go, but you got to be thinking about it, right?
Yeah. So there's a world standard, which this year is going to be 206.30, and then they take people off of rankings as well. So it's a little bit of a complicated system. But in the U.S., barring you have a time or a world ranking that'll get you in, it's top 3 at the Olympic trials.
So when you say 206.30, that's the world. That's 2 hours, 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yep.
You finished in New York in 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds. That's that 3 minutes. That's the edge between being the top American finisher at the New York City Marathon and being an Olympian. Yeah.
Kind of, more or less, yeah. They do, so their goal with the standard is to get half the people in off of that standard and then the rest off of world rankings. So U.S. ended up having to get people in off of world rankings on the guys' side last year. So it does go a little deeper than 206. And like big races, like New York has extra bonus points for placing well. So that does help.
Where are you ranked at right now?
I'm ranked 13th in the U.S., I believe.
Wow. That's pretty nuts, man.
That's crazy.
That's so nuts.
That's great. You know, you're ranked 13th in the U.S. You were ranked first in the New York City Marathon. But it wasn't just you for Minnesota. Minnesota had a huge day in New York on Sunday. Let's talk about Joe Klecker of Minnetonka. He finished 10th overall, his first ever marathon. Annie Frisbee of Edina, my favorite city in Minnesota. The second U.S. women's finisher, 5th overall. And Elena Hayday of Minneapolis, 12th overall among women as well. Minnesota Distance Elite. You're wearing the pullover zip down right there.
Yep.
Can you talk about your team? Why is Minnesota having a moment right now when it comes to long distance running?
I mean, Minnesota's got a long history of running. I know winters are tough here, so it's hard to convince other people to come here and run. But I mean, there's lots of good runners that have come out of Minnesota, and I think Lundo and the team have done a lot to put us in a position to be successful.
Yeah, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah.
Joe, we hope to see you in LA in a couple of years. Obviously, New York was illustrious. Where's your favorite place that you've ran so far, and what's a race that you haven't got into yet that you're looking forward to?
New York is honestly one of my favorite courses. It's a really crazy experience going like over these empty bridges, and then you come out and the crowd just like erupts and it's like deafeningly loud with people cheering. That's a crazy experience. I also love Grandma's home course. It's obviously a blast.
Yeah,
very
for
close to my heart. In terms of races that I haven't done, more of the world majors would be really cool to experience. So like Boston obviously is a bucket list item for a lot of people. Yeah.
Have you gotten to go international yet? Race anywhere overseas?
I've done one overseas race. So it's NACAC Cross Country Championship, which is like North American, Central American. It ended up mostly like a race between us and Canada, and it was in Trinidad and Tobago in this like really strange course that's like this giant roundabout park. It was a very odd place, but it was a lot of fun to be a part of. It was very, very hot, but it was a cool experience.
It sounds like it, man.
That's awesome. You mentioned the Grandma's Marathon. I know that you're not a person to brag about yourself. I'm going to brag about you. You won Grandma's Marathon this past June. You're the first Minnesotan to win that marathon since 2009. 6 years since 16 years since a Minnesotan had won that marathon. What does that mean to you to win here back in your home state?
I mean, it means a lot. Obviously, like Grandma's is a huge thing in Minnesota, and so to be a part of that tradition is huge. And there's some big names from Minnesota that have won that in the past, so it's cool to be mentioned among them.
You've mentioned your team a couple of times. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about this team, the Minnesota Distance Elite? Yeah,
so we're a professional running team. We don't have like a shoe sponsor per se, but we've got a lot of like local sponsorships. They help us out with travel for races that aren't covered, things like that. We've got like Dakota Popane, who is an Olympian, who is 12th in the world at the Olympics. Annie Frisbee obviously has been crushing it. So we've got about 22 athletes now, and anything from like 800 all the way up to marathon, trying to see what we can do.
Incredible. Where's your favorite place to run here in the Twin Cities?
I tend to run down the Summit Median a lot and on River Road. I also really like Lake Harriet a lot too.
So what's next? What's the next big thing that you're preparing for?
We're still trying to figure that out. Might be like a Boston or London, and then hopefully come back for Grandma's Full. It's a quick turnaround, but I think it's worth doing.
What is usually like the training camp, like the ramp up? Like how long do you usually take to like in serious mode when you're going up for one of these big ones like this?
Usually like 4-ish months. It varies kind of how things line up, but like 3-4 months is typically a pretty good amount of time, and some of that's building up, and then usually like last 2 months to 6 weeks is a little more marathon specific, where you're getting some of those longer, harder efforts in.
Have you ever been mistaken for Weird Al Yankovic? I'm sure you get this question all the time.
Yep. All the time, yeah.
You could, if he was running about, I'm sure you were getting some shout outs in the crowd in New York for that, right? You know?
Yep. Yeah. And for Grandma's, I had a mustache, so people were calling me Frank Zappa as well. So.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Joel Ryko, you are, in my eyes, the best runner in the United States. I know the rankings say you're 13th, but my gosh, like the top U.S. men's finisher at the New York City Marathon.
Number one in our hearts as well.
Yeah.
Number one in our hearts. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Wishing, and hopefully we get you to the Olympics and to LA. That would be amazing to see you perform there.
Yeah, be a dream.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yes, thanks. More to come from the afternoon shift after this. I think we're going to be picking some NFL games, Max.
Let's do it.
Yes, yeah. Maybe Joel will be ringing the Gower horn on Sunday.
Yeah, maybe.
Should be, yeah.
You watch football, Joel?
I do watch football, yeah.
So
I'm a Vikings fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about the game on Sunday?
I didn't get to watch any of it, but it's good to see them win. And
Yeah.
Good to see that spark back.
For sure. Yeah. You got hope? You got hope again? Are you one of those Doomer Minnesota fans? Or you got
No, the roster is so good. It's just like they lost focus for a bit.
Right. We're back.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I love it, Joel. Thanks again, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
More to come from the afternoon shift after this. welcome back to the afternoon shift. Max, we called an audible. Speaking of football,
did. This is live TV, and sometimes you gotta call the audible.
Yes.
And make a change.
Yes. We are gonna go to a very important initiative that Fox is really profiling here. It's called Make Camo Your Cause. It's a campaign to end veteran homelessness. Max, Veterans Day is on Tuesday of next week, so we're thinking about all of our veterans this week and next week.
For sure, every day, but
That's
especially with the holiday coming up here, and especially we want to shine a light on this unfortunate thing that has way too prevalent with our veterans returning home.
Yes, to learn more about this, go to go.fox/US Vets. And joining us now is an Army veteran and the VP of Programs at US Vets, Mr. Larry D. Williams. Mr. Williams, welcome to the afternoon shift.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you and your service to our country. Can you tell us about your time in the Army? Where did you do some of your tours?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm a veteran from way back. I joined the Army in 1985 and got out in 1989. So I don't know how many years ago that was, but you can do the math. And it was actually, I had a great time. I got to be honest. When I went into the military, I was 17. My first duty station was Korea. First tank, shout out to all veterans out there, and shout out to all Army veterans who were in Korea. And so first tank was my first duty station. We were in South Korea defending the border. And then my second term, and that's right, ETS, was at Fort Hood. And, my military experience taught me a lot, helped me to mature when going in at 17 and coming out with a family, a wife, and children. So it was great, yet coming out of the military, we definitely had some challenges to overcome trying to assimilate into the civilian world. But my military experience was wonderful. Thank you for asking about that.
Larry, now obviously you're here to talk about the Make Camo Your Cause campaign. How did this whole campaign get started?
Oh, U.S. Vets, the nation's largest. We are the nation's largest nonprofit organization, and our mission is to prevent and end veterans' homelessness. And so Make Camo Your Cause was launched to actually raise awareness. We want it to become the national symbol for acknowledging veteran services. We want camo to become a national signal for gratitude for veterans. And so US Vets launched the campaign, Make Camo Your Cause. And we realized that on Veterans Day, we celebrate veterans across the nation. Yet at US Vets, every day is Veterans Day. But we're asking all to wear camo on Veterans Day. Showcase your camo. Please take pictures. You see this tie right here. This is a nice camo tie. I even have a camo hat that I'm going to put on my head that's on our website. It's actually a nice hat too. But we're trying to make camo the nation's symbol for veterans' gratitude. So on Veterans Day, when we're out with our families, we're having parties, barbecues, we're at events, we're speaking, our local leaders, politicians, news anchors, people in the community, Minnesota, when Veterans Day coming, we're out in the community, wear your camo, take pictures, and post them. Hashtag honor US Vets. And what we're hoping for, we are hoping for a blanket of camouflage across the nation, showing our veterans, telling our veterans how much we appreciate them, how much we adore them. Thank you for your service. Where would we be as a nation today if it were not for the veterans who served yesterday, right? So Make Camo Your Cause is all about raising awareness and showing veterans our gratitude. And I'm hoping that we see a lot of posts. Remember, hashtag honor US Vets. And please go to our website and purchase some camo off of our store. Like I mentioned earlier, we have some great camo swag, and I'm wearing a few pieces now, my hat and my tie. And guys, thank you for allowing me to spread a little awareness about US Vets and our Make Camo campaign cause. Thank you.
No doubt, Larry. No doubt. What impact have you seen firsthand from the organization? How is it helping to end veteran homelessness?
Great question. U.S. vets, our staff, we have great staff. We've been around for 35 years, and our staff show up every day. They put their boots on, and we go to war. And that's how we look at homelessness. We go to battle trying to end it. But what progress have we seen? Well, when I first started in this field 20 years ago with U.S. vets, there was probably about 250,000 homeless veterans on the streets of the nation. I'm not sure of the exact number. Today, there is 33,000 homeless veterans on the streets of the nation, and that showed great progress. And as a nation, we really collaborated. We did our best to address NIMBYism, not in my backyard, because it is in our backyard. It's on our front streets. It's downtown. It's everywhere, and it's something that we're trying to eradicate. With those numbers now being at 33,000, we are finding that mental health, behavior health is in need. We are finding that permanent housing. We are definitely trying to increase our permanent housing inventory, and we're getting into the prevention, because we are going to solve homelessness, and that 33,000 is going to come down. But what we want to do is get in front of it so it never has to occur. U.S. Vets believes a veteran, no person who spent any amount of time defending these streets, this great nation, and then come home and have to sleep on them. So we are steadfast on our mission to eradicate homelessness. We are pouring into prevention. We will have prevention models all over the nation. And what will our prevention models do? Hopefully help our military service members and their families with any issues that may be occurring, mitigating those, solving those, removing those, helping them to overcome their challenges, so that we don't have growing numbers on the back end. Because now that those homeless numbers are growing down, we want them to stay down. But if we don't get on the prevention side, then those numbers are going to continue to go back up, right? Or we'll be kind of stagnant, because there is a need for prevention, and that's where our focus is. After we solved it, we don't even want it to come back ever.
I love the confidence right there. We are going to solve it. We could just feel the passion and commitment to solving this issue just brimming through the screen. So we appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. Why is it that so many of our servicemen and women out there find themselves faced with homelessness here in the United States?
That's a great question. And we at U.S. Vets, we realize that homelessness is real, and I don't want my answer to get misunderstood. There's a lot of core issues that go on prior to one becoming homeless. The healing is the key, but it takes time to get to the healing. So you asked, what happens? How does homelessness happen? Lack of affordable housing. Poverty. The cost of living is very high, and when you're in the military, things are a little different. And so, picture this now: veteran goes into the like myself, 17 years old, going to the military, and promises are made. Hey, you're gonna go in, you're gonna serve your country, and Larry, when you come out, don't worry about it, because you're going to get a job. You got lifetime medical and housing benefits. And yes, we do have all of that. Yet, though, sometimes things happen and challenges occur. Military skill sets sometimes are not understood by civilian employees and by civilian employers, excuse me. So we have to translate that. Can you imagine a military person being in the military for 4, 6, 8, 10 years, operating $20 million equipment, airplanes, tanks? These guys are logistical giants, and they come out the military And it's hard for them to get a job because the person they're interviewing with doesn't understand the military skill set, right? And there's another piece to this. We also have to educate the veteran on how to communicate what he's done in the military and make it translate over into the civilian side. So, one, employment skills, transferring those over. Sometimes trauma occurs, and that's real. Um, and unfortunately, it changes people. And when they come back, sometimes they're not the same as they left. They're different. And life happens. And our job at US Vets is to be there when they come home. Keep the light on. Those guys dedicated their lives to serving this great nation. They've served us. Now it's our time, our opportunity, our privilege and honor to serve them. So you asked what leads to homelessness. Well, many different things can lead to homelessness. Mental health, substance use, lack of affordable housing, poverty, skill set not translating over, and then it just compounds. And then before you know it, you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance with housing. And again, US Vets is trying to get in front of that. We want to set up our prevention hubs that will provide mental health counseling, that will provide employment training and opportunity and access, that will provide not just treatment for or assistance for the veteran, but for the family members as well, because it's not just an individual issue. It's a whole family dynamic that we're trying to assist. So we're really pouring into the prevention because we not only want to eradicate homelessness, but again, we're doing our best to ensure that veterans don't even have to go down that line. We want to stop it on the front end. Prevention is the way to go.
Well said there, Larry. Where can people learn more and donate to the Make Camo Your Cause campaign?
Make camo your cause. Go to usvets.org, please. usvets.org. Check out our camo shop. And again, on 11/11 Veterans Day, take your pictures. Take your pictures of your swag, post them, hashtag honor US Vets. I see on the screen here, go.fox/US Vets. By the way, let me pause for the cause for a second. We so appreciate Fox at US Vets. Thank you, guys. You guys are a great partner. You have helped us to raise awareness across the nation. You have adopted us as a partner. And our Camo to Cause campaign is as successful as it is because of the collaboration we have with you guys at Fox. So thank you. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Larry. We appreciate you. You are an Army veteran yourself and the VP of Programs at US Vets. Well said with all the information. And folks, just one more time, that's go.fox/US Vets. Thank you, Larry, again, and we'll be talking to you soon. Awesome. You know, I think I would love to have Larry as a general for me one day.
Yeah,
just like
seriously.
kind of commanding and
He'd
giving out
be ready to
information.
run through a wall just listening to
Absolutely.
him answer those questions.
Absolutely. Very regimented. I like
sure.
that. So
Passionate.
Very important cause. You see it there at the bottom of your screen, or you did see it just there at the bottom. There it is again. Good job, Grace. Go.fox/US Vets. All right, we called an audible. Blue 42. And we're going back. We're coming back to the line of scrimmage here.
Right.
So.
What is that when you fake the
That's
audible?
right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Mahomes said this play never works.
This play never works. And then, it's like
Yes.
a trick play. We
Yes.
tricked y'all. You got to put what is it? You got to put the pill in the pudding or
Yes.
whatever. We gave you guys the real. Now we
Yes.
get to have a little bit of fun.
Now we're having some fun. We're going to give some NFL picks for Week 10 coming up right after this. back to the afternoon shift. We're just 48 hours away from the new NFL slate. We have a game in Berlin, Germany on Sunday morning.
Wow.
Yes. So
Who's that?
The Colts. I forgot who the Colts are playing there. They're playing somebody from Berlin. I know Sauce Gardner's going to be making his Colts debut.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Falcons.
The Falcons.
Yeah,
so
Falcons. That'll be an exciting matchup for the good people of Berlin out there.
Yes. So that, and then it's a full slate on Sunday. We have talked about the Vikings and the Ravens there. I think we made some picks.
I think we were doing the bid. We're on TV in Minnesota. We gotta pick the Vikings.
We gotta pick the Vikings.
Kind of pick the
well,
Vikings.
you would actually pick the Vikings.
I would have actually picked the Vikings. You maybe would have picked the Ravens.
Brian Wacker is picking the Vikings.
Exactly.
And so if Brian Wacker is picking the Vikings,
who are we to not pick the Vikings? He works for the Baltimore Sun, and he's picking the Vikings.
I would also say, based on this line, and the Vikings are a 3.5-point underdog. It leads me to believe that the Vikings are probably the correct side.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a lot of people that feel like Lamar Jackson and the Rams are just going to steamroll. And so I think the Vikings are probably the correct side, but I think this is a stay away for me. It's a stay away game.
I don't blame you, man. It's a tough matchup. If the Vikings look, obviously it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know what I'm saying? If the Vikings look like how they did against the Lions, this could be a super hyper competitive game. Most of the games the Vikings have been in this season have at least been close, even if they came out on the wrong end of the game, on the wrong end of winning, I should say. But it's still this Ravens team, man. When they're playing at full strength, they are a force to be reckoned with. And again, Lamar Jackson is the exact kind of quarterback that gives the Vikings fits. But I got a feeling that Brian Flores has something dialed up real special for old number 8.
No doubt. That'll be fun to watch and see what happens there. Right here on Fox 9, by the way, at noon. Pregame coverage starts at 10 a.m. here on Fox 9 on Sunday. Okay, let's move to some of the other games. We got the Patriots at the Bucks. This is sort of two teams I feel like that a lot of people think might be pretenders, but they're both right in the mix there. This will be interesting. The Patriots are red hot, 2.5-point underdogs in Tampa. What do you think?
And then they've won 6 games in a row. I believe. It's hard to call them a pretender at this point in the season because I don't even think a lot of people thought they would be here. I certainly wasn't one of those people that expected Drake May to evolve into a franchise quarterback, but that's exactly what he is. Check this out. Drake May has posted 200+ pass yards and a passer rating of 100 or better in each of his last 8 games.
That's incredible.
That's the longest streak within a season in NFL history, tied for the longest. I mean, this is a guy that's playing for the New England Patriots, setting records that even Tom Brady hasn't touched. And again, these are heights that only a few quarterbacks have ever reached in the whole history of the NFL. I mean, he is on fire. That man is balling. And the defense, I mean, New England is playing really complimentary football because check this out. The defense, they haven't allowed a running back to reach at least 50 rush yards in a game. Not the whole season.
That's
not
crazy.
Even 50 rush yards in a game. I mean, it's hard to pick against a red-hot New England team like that. But listen, this Bucs team is scrappy. They kind of have taken on the identity of their franchise quarterback, Baker Mayfield. It seems like offensively and defensively, they're scrappy. They got that next man up kind of mentality. They've been dealing with injuries all season, but they've been battling through it and found ways to be successful. Again, a matchup of probably 2 of the top 5 MVP contenders in Drake May and in Baker Mayfield, which again, it's so crazy to say that Drake May is an MVP contender this season, but I got to roll with the Patriots on this one because they're just playing some really nice complimentary football right now.
Yeah, I like the Pats too here. I just like the vibe around the Pats right now. I think the Pats are going to sneak up on some people. There we see our picks. Grace, she mentioned her parents grew up in Florida State. So, Grace, there's a little bit of Florida bias here.
Yeah, I was born in Tampa.
Oh, so we didn't know that.
The only NFL game I've ever been to is a Bucs game. So.
On your birthday. See, that's her birth city of Tampa, Florida.
She's repping her birth city.
I don't blame you, Grace.
Her birth state.
I don't blame you, Grace. I don't blame you. Let's bring it out to the great state of California. We got the Rams at the 49ers. This is honestly one of the better rivalries in the NFL that people just don't talk about.
Yeah.
This is a great rivalry, great passionate fans on both sides. The Rams 4.5-point favorites at SF. What do you make of this one?
Well, I'm curious. Is Brock? Do we know if Brock Purdy is playing in this game?
I think he is
or
playing.
not? He's
I
going
think he
to
is going to play.
in this game.
Yes. But it hasn't seemed to matter for the 49ers. I mean, they seem to keep getting similar output.
It's kind of a plug and play
Yes.
lately with the San Francisco 49ers, which has kind of been the knock on some people on Brock Purdy, is that this is just kind of a system that almost anybody can flourish in. And Mac Jones, a guy that hardly had any success in the NFL, has found a lot of success this season under the helm. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But I like this LA Rams team, man. Again, they're playing really good football on both sides of the ball. Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams, their connection has been real. I mean, this is probably besides Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. You don't get better wide receiver duos than that. If it's probably 1A and 1B between them and the Vikings for wide receiver duos. Can't forget about the Cincinnati Bengals as well. But that Rams offense has just been, I mean, man, they've been really good. They've been really impressive so far this season. So I'm rolling with the LA Rams. The 49ers have just kind of been, they find ways because they're a well-coached team. They're a deep team. They find ways to win in these games, but they haven't really been impressive for me. Talk about pretenders. I'm kind of feeling pretenderish about the 49ers, which sounds ridiculous to say. They're one of the most consistent NFL franchises of the last decade plus. But for me, they feel a little pretender-ish. They're just kind of sneaking by in these games, finding different ways to win, but unimpressive ways nonetheless. So I'm going with the LA Rams on this one.
Let's not forget, the 49ers went at the Rams on Thursday Night Football several weeks ago. They were 9.5-point underdogs. They won that game outright. SF was my preseason Super Bowl pick.
You got to roll with that.
I'm an LA guy, and I'll shout out. I'm sticking with the Niners there. Grace, your dad's a 49ers fan. Yeah, like you got to roll with your dads, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this will be a fun game. I think this is the Sunday game I'm most looking forward to right here.
One going with the Rams, huh?
You're on a win there but they're 4.5-point favorites, so that's a good side to be on.
And they're 3-0 since they last faced the San Francisco 49ers. So they've been on fire, and they're looking for revenge. They're out looking for revenge for the Battle of California's heart. Not really, though. It's the 49ers. They're the most popular team, right?
Yeah, I would probably say it's just as the Rams left. Certainly the team that is the least popular in California is our next game. The Steelers at the Chargers. Listen, the Chargers, they're always just kind of be like the Clippers. But listen, the Chargers, I feel like are an annoying team.
They are.
They kind of took care of the Vikings a few weeks ago. The Steelers, 2.5-point underdogs at LA. There will be more Steeler fans there than Charger fans inside SoFi Stadium, for sure.
Absolutely.
How do you see this one shaking out?
Again, you want to talk about a well-balanced football team. The Los Angeles Chargers, top 10 in offensive yards per game, top 10 in defensive yards allowed per game. The defense has kind of taken a step back. They started off the beginning of the year elite. They've taken a step back. Obviously, we talked about that ahead of the Vikings-Chargers matchup. Obviously, the Chargers got right for that matchup. The defense did their damn job against the Minnesota Vikings, but they've been had an unimpressive stretch there in the middle of the season, but they seem like they're kind of turning a corner here. But the thing for me is the Los Angeles Chargers offensive line. Is their offensive line going to be healthy? And it doesn't look like they're going to be. If you should see the stats for this offense, but when Joe Alt is out there and when there's no Joe Alt out there, it is a night and day difference. So basically, the key to this game is Joe Alt playing? If Joe Alt is playing, the Los Angeles Chargers will probably win this game. If not, it's a rough go. So it's all about keeping Justin Herbert upright. And this Steelers team, man, they're coming off of a really impressive. I would say they were probably underdogs, upset win against the Indianapolis Colts. A team that a lot of people think is the best in the NFL, at least a top 5 team. And the Steelers team, again, they've been kind of up and down throughout the season, but Aaron Rodgers has been serviceable, and I think they have really nice. The one weak point of this Chargers defense is their secondary, and the Steelers we like to forget. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been balling. You don't hear his name a lot.
Right.
He's throwing to DK Metcalf a lot. DK Metcalf he's not having a top level season like we're used to him having in the Seattle Seahawks uniform, but he's been pretty damn good this season, and I think they have a really nice matchup with DK against those Chargers defensive backs. So I'm rolling with the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. I think the black and gold get it done.
Yeah. Tell the people where Joe Alt went to college.
Notre Dame.
That's it. He did go to Notre Dame. You knew that.
I knew that.
I was biting my tongue when Brian was talking about Kyle Hamel. He was waxing poetically. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
You're not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it. I'm rolling with the Steelers, too. I just like the consistency of the Steelers. We're all aligned
Everybody's
on this one.
on the Steelers van.
We're all aligned on the Steelers on that one. It's going to be a really fun slate, everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. And,
absolutely.
Yes.
Because sometimes there's only 1 or 2 games that are really interesting, but there's a whole bunch at noon that are interesting. There's a couple at got 3 that are interesting. I'm not sure what the Sunday night game is, but we know Monday night is Eagles Packers, so that should be a lot of fun as well.
Yes. The Monday night game is probably the best one of them all.
Yeah.
And if you have YouTube TV, hopefully you can watch it. Hopefully that ends and the government shut down.
Seriously, let the
Goodness.
people watch some football, damn it.
For real.
fast you typed the word bang was how fast or how successful your hunt was, because the computer could time how fast you were doing it. So from the beginning, that hunting minigame was in there. So really, it's all about simulating that journey. And if you're successful, you make it to Oregon. But putting yourselves in the shoes of someone, I think, was also revolutionary at the time. A lot of the games were very sort of logic and math based. So that simulation effect, even on that basic text-based version originally, I think was really revolutionary.
Yeah, it's incredible how innovative that was for the 70s. That's and then obviously it continued to innovate and evolve from there. Can you kind of just talk about like the evolution of the game going forward? And I don't know, when's the last time we got an update? Is there a 2025 version of Oregon Trail?
Well, yeah. So that original text-based version, they thought it was just going to be for a few weeks at the schools they were teaching at. But right around that time, Minnesota was creating a state agency called MEC, the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. The goal was to provide access to computers for school kids around Minnesota. Now, when we talk about computers, back then, we're not talking about personal computers. We're talking about mainframe computers. So the way you access these was through teletype terminals. These were sort of like printer typewriter combos. You would enter something in, it would relay via phone line to a centrally located mainframe computer and then relay back. So much different. But a couple years after he finished his student teaching, Don Rawich had gotten a job with MEC. And they were like, hey, we're looking for more programs we can add to our computer system. And he said, you know, my buddies and I created this program about the Oregon Trail. At that time, it was just called Oregon. Mm-hmm. And they're like, sure. And he's like, okay. And he uploaded the code to their system. This was a time when the idea of creating and marketing software that you would sell and get royalties on was not a thing. I mean, they were just trying to create software.
Hey, we're here.
Right.
Yes.
The beauties of live television and pre-recorded television. Sometimes we have technical difficulties.
That's right. That's right. We had a conversation like you were just seeing there from the Minnesota Historical Society all about the Oregon Trail. We had some technical difficulties, but we believe it's all ironed out and everything's ready to go.
And we loved the conversation so much, and Oregon Trail means so much to the people of Minnesota and the people around the world. We decided, let's just run it back. It was that damn good.
Yes.
Let's just run it back. Most of you guys didn't see half of it anyway, so we're not even running it back. We're playing it for the first time. Let's roll that tape, Grace.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Max, you a big computer game guy.
I was when I was a kid, certainly. I think we all kind of grew up kind of learning how to type with those computer games. And one thing that seems to be a universal experience across the country, maybe even across the world, is everybody growing up playing Oregon Trail.
That's right. I have very fond memories of playing the Oregon Trail. A lot of decisions to be made.
For sure.
And all of that,
everybody, you get dysentery eventually, and then you die. And it happened to all of us. At least it happened to me a lot.
Yes. I didn't know that this game was invented right here in Minnesota. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Absolutely. And the most popular version of the game is celebrating its 40-year anniversary.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome. We have Jacob Roram here from the Minnesota Historical Society to tell us more about the Oregon Trail. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Can you just tell us what makes the Oregon Trail? It has such a lasting impact. It's been around for decades now, and people are still talking about it. Why is that?
I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I think the game itself gave kids opportunities to sort of have autonomy, try different things, different results, a little bit of that slot machine effect. The decisions you make affect the outcome, and people wanted to keep playing it. So I think it was compelling in that way. But another big reason was Minnesota and a state agency that was created here called MEC, the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium, that really made that game accessible to so many kids around the country in the 80s and 90s. So a couple things there I think that have made it continue to last. It was so widespread, and it's just a compelling game.
Jacob, could you dive a little bit into like how it was created here in Minnesota? Because I think a lot of people don't know. You would just assume, you hear Oregon Trail, you probably just assume that it was made, in Oregon. Yeah, maybe it's in Portland or something like that, but it was made right here in Minnesota. Could you give us a little bit of the lore behind the creation of the game?
Absolutely. Yeah, I myself am from the Pacific Northwest. That's where I grew up. So I just, I guess, assumed it was a regional thing. But no, it was actually 1971. 3 student teachers who were studying at Carleton College. They created the original version of the game. One of them was studying history and had been assigned an opportunity to teach a lesson about westward expansion. And he thought, how can I make this fun for my students, and he sort of was trying to devise a board game that simulated settlers' journey on the trail. And his roommates, who were both studying mathematics and had done some computer programming classes, came in and said, you know, this could make a really good computer game. And he said, really? And yeah, so they went and they programmed this computer game. It was all text-based back then. You know, this is 1971. This is very early computers. And put it up on their junior highs that they were teaching in, those school computer networks, and kids started playing it. So that was the origins, pretty humble origins. And actually, when they were done with their student teaching, they deleted it from the computers, printed out the code, and they thought that was it.
Little did they know 50 years later,
Right.
people would still be playing it. It's incredible. Hey, you know, Jacob, can you just tell us sort of the premise of the game? Maybe there's people out there that don't know, or they just need a refresher like me. It's been a long time since I played, but I have, again, such fond memories. What was the premise of the Oregon Trail?
So the premise was originally, you know, what Don Rawich, one of the original creators, he was trying to simulate that journey that settlers took across the trail for his school kids. And so it's really about putting people in the shoes from that perspective. And you have to make decisions. You figure out what the resources you're going to take so that you can successfully make it to Oregon. You have to think about decisions along the way. You come across a river. How are you going to cross it? You have to manage your resources along the way. Oh, you lost some food. Now you have to go out and hunt. And these are the basic building blocks of that game that started in that text-based version. There was even a hunting game in that version. Many people remember fondly that hunting mini game in many of the later versions, but the very beginning, it was depending on how fast you typed the word bang was how fast or how successful your hunt was, because the computer could time how fast you were doing it. So from the beginning, that hunting minigame was in there. So really, it's all about simulating that journey. And if you're successful, you make it to Oregon. But putting yourselves in the shoes of someone, I think, was also revolutionary at the time. A lot of the games were very sort of logic and math based. So that simulation effect, even on that basic text-based version originally, I think was really revolutionary.
Yeah, it's incredible how innovative that was for the 70s. That's and then obviously it continued to innovate and evolve from there. Can you kind of just talk about like the evolution of the game going forward? And I don't know, when's the last time we got an update? Is there a 2025 version of Oregon Trail?
Well, yeah. So that original text-based version, they thought it was just going to be for a few weeks at the schools they were teaching at. But right around that time, Minnesota was creating a state agency called MEC, the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. The goal was to provide access to computers for school kids around Minnesota. Now, when we talk about computers, back then, we're not talking about personal computers. We're talking about mainframe computers. So the way you access these was through teletype terminals. These were sort of like printer typewriter combos. You would enter something in. It would relay via phone line to a centrally located mainframe computer and then relay back. So much different. But a couple years after he finished his student teaching, Don Rawich had gotten a job with MEC. And they were like, hey, we're looking for more programs we can add to our computer system. And he said, you know, my buddies and I created this program about the Oregon Trail. At that time, it was just called Oregon. Mm-hmm. And they're like, sure. And he's like, okay. And he uploaded the code to their system. This was a time when the idea of creating and marketing software that you would sell and get royalties on was not a thing. I mean, they were just trying to create software that people would use, period. So unfortunately, those three original creators, Don Rawich, Paul Dillenberger, and Bill Heineman, never got to see a lot of the profits that came later with the game. But once MEC had it, they kept evolving, they kept iterating. And when the personal computer came around, they created versions for the Apple II originally, and then later for PCs on Windows, on DOS. And yeah, that's the version that many people think. 1985 was that first fully graphical version. And there are some newer versions. The last one came out in 2021. So
Really?
they're still going. It's no longer part of MEC. MEC dissolved in the 1990s, but it's still going.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
I think there's a certain nostalgia of playing a computer game. It's something that, frankly, kids today probably don't know. Our producer, Grace Henry, that's out there in the back, today's her birthday. She's in her early 20s. She probably didn't play computer games growing up.
Probably not. She probably doesn't even know what a personal computer even looks like. Yeah,
I know. It's incredible. Do you think that there's people out there, Jacob, that like playing this because it kind of brings them back to childhood and brings them back to maybe a simpler time in their life?
Oh, absolutely. I think 100%. I think one of the things when we remember this game, we're thinking about childhood. We're thinking about some of our earliest experiences with technology and computers. We're thinking about classroom computer labs. It's sort of all wrapped up in that. So, it came at a time when a lot of people were introduced to technology for the first time. So it is sometimes the first time they were using a computer may have been this game. And so when we look back on it now, we're thinking about those fond memories of childhood. And of course, a technological world that's very different than today. No social media, no internet. And it was a very different time. And sometimes I think we think, well, that was a nicer time. A little less bombardment from everything that comes along with today's tech world.
No internet, but I feel like getting dysentery was kind of one of the first like in real life memes, like it just became, it was a thing that happened to every single person. A shared cultural experience was getting dysentery on the Oregon Trail. And obviously this was a smash hit, and it spawned a bunch of other kind of like similar versions, right, in different settings.
Oh yeah, I think once the Oregon Trail was a big hit, in the 90s, they came out with Oregon Trail 2, which sort of really just exploded in terms of expanding the world of the Oregon Trail and the amount that you could do in that. But there was also the Amazon Trail. There was the Yukon Trail. There was a one called Africa Trail, which I think was about bicycling across Africa. And then they had a bunch of different games. Mech produced games like Number Munchers, if you have familiarity with that game. Lemonade Stand.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of things. So they were just pumping out educational technology, software. And at one point, there was school districts, about a third of the school districts in the nation were subscribing to MEC's software, which is why, again, it seems like everyone played this game.
Lemonade Stand was a mech invention. So that game also came from Minnesota?
Yes.
I have very fond memories playing Lemonade Stand as well. That's really incredible. Jacob, what's the Minnesota Historical Society doing to celebrate the Oregon Trail and all the accomplishments of mech?
Well, we just wrapped up a couple programs to sort of talk about this with our audiences, but there's more to learn. We have a great resource on our website, Minnepedia. It's the sort of Minnesota Encyclopedia, and we have a great article about the Oregon Trail there that you can learn more, and there's links. And I'm going to recommend a couple things that aren't actually MNHS, but there's a great documentary on Twin Cities Public Television called Trailheads, which talks about those origin stories. Highly recommend people to check it out. But yeah, there's always more to learn. There's also a lot more to learn about Minnesota's tech history. I think a lot of people don't know we were a big computer innovation state. And that was part of this, the Oregon Trail is one part of that larger tech story. So get out there and start digging in.
Speaking of getting out there and starting to dig in, what's the next project now that the Oregon Trail kind of talks have wrapped up?
Well, we've got a couple great programs coming up here this month, November. It's also the 50th anniversary of the tragic sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So we're going to be doing our memorial beacon lighting up at Split Rock Lighthouse on the 10th. You can tune in. There's going to be a live stream of that. And then we've got an event here at the Minnesota History Center in St. Paul that's going to be reflecting on the legacy of that event and why it has captured our imagination for 50 years. And that's going to be on November 20th at the Minnesota History Center in St. Paul.
And, of course, you can catch the Edmund Fitzgerald documentary produced by our own Joe Augustine at Fox 9 right now on our YouTube page.
Gales of November.
The Gales of November and the Fox local app. That 50-year anniversary is this Sunday. So just really incredible. Jacob, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Bringing back a lot of memories thinking about the Oregon Trail and Lemonade Stand for me. Just really incredible stuff here.
Well, great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Jacob.
The Oregon Trail. Never would have known it was a Minnesota invention.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
In true Minnesota fashion, we're humble. We don't like to brag about it, but that might be the greatest invention to come out of Minnesota. I know they just had the coolest Minnesota contest thing. Oregon Trail, I think if that was in the tournament, it might have won.
Yeah, it's incredible just to hear Jacob say that at one point a third of school districts nationwide were subscribing to Minnesota computer games, essentially Minnesota-made computer games.
Because it does feel like every single person of a certain age has played the game.
Right. And all came out of the state, and you would have never have known that it came out of the state. Like you said, very humble about it and everything.
Right.
So
educational and entertaining all at the same time. There's not a lot of games you could say about that these days, but that's the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
To a T.
Yeah. I think if you want to talk about the GOAT computer games, Oregon Trail's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
Backyard baseball.
Backyard baseball is up there.
Backyard definitely up there.
Shout out to Pablo Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Shout out to Dysentery.
And shout out to Dysentery as well. We'll be back here on the afternoon shift after this. back to the afternoon shift. Max, we began today's show talking to Leon Purvis at MSP Airport. Yesterday, we had a great conversation with Gunnar Olsen, the host of the Thrifty Traveler podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at this whole flight cancellation business from another angle. We've been looking at it mostly from the workers' point of view, but what about the traveler themselves?
That's right. Gunnar had a lot of great insights yesterday, so we figured we'd roll it back. So let's play that interview again. Mr. Gunnar Olsen. What's up, Gunnar? How are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you joining us. Can you tell us about this flight reductions announcement and what that means for air travelers, particularly those flying out tomorrow for a weekend getaway?
Yeah, well, I'm one of them, so I've got my fingers crossed as well for this weekend. But basically what happened was yesterday, the federal government or the Trump administration said, airlines, you have about 24 hours to figure out how you're going to take out 10% of your schedule. So what's going to happen is starting tomorrow morning, it's not going to be 10% all at once, but there's going to be kind of a gradual decline of flights out of most of these, major 40 airports, MSP included. So I think the brunt of the cuts are going to be in kind of the Northeast corridor, Boston, New York, DC, probably a little bit in Southern California too, like the busiest areas. And then Chicago, Atlanta will see some pretty significant cuts as well. But I think the airlines are just trying to figure out a schedule that works for as many people as possible. And that's unfortunately going to mean the cancellation of a lot of flights. They have said the big long-haul international flights aren't going to be touched in this. So hopefully your big trip to Europe, if you've got one in the next week or so, is still on schedule. But there's going to be a lot of pain at airports over the next few days, and hopefully people aren't caught up in it.
So do you anticipate, you mentioned there that the big international flights aren't going to be affected. Is this going to affect kind of people maybe trying to travel back home to some smaller town places?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the regional flights, those really small regional jets, the ones that seat like 70 people flying to and from rural communities, the little flights we have from MSP all over northern Minnesota and North Dakota and South Dakota, I think some of those could be in peril. Not every single one of them, but I think those are going to be the first ones to go because the airlines don't want to touch the big long haul ones that they're making a ton of money on. They don't want to touch the ones that are going from major hub airport to major hub airport. So that just kind of leaves the little guys, unfortunately. And the weird part is those little regional jets take up just as much airspace as the big jumbo jets do. So by reducing a few of those, they can actually reduce fewer seats and the same amount of flights. So sadly, our friends in rural areas might be the ones hit hardest by this.
Gunnar, if you are kind of hit hard by this at an airport, what rights do you have as a traveler if your flight is delayed or canceled? Do these rules just kind of run the gamut no matter what airline you're flying?
Yeah, so there's a rule. The U.S. law is that if your flight is canceled, no matter what airline you're flying, as long as it touches U.S. soil, if your flight is canceled, you are due a refund if you want it. The other case would be if they rebook you and you accept that rebooking and take that flight, then you are no longer eligible for the refund. So if if you're flying down to New Orleans on Delta from Minneapolis and they cancel your flight and they reroute you through Atlanta, if you take that connection through Atlanta and take that flight to New Orleans, you're no longer eligible for the refund. But if they change your flight and it really doesn't work for you and you just want to scrap the trip or just take the money, you are due a refund. Make sure you go get it, though. You do have to request it. The airlines are also issuing travel waivers for this week. American, Delta, and United have all allowed you to change your flight without a change fee or without even the fare difference in most cases. So you can just pick the flight that you want. So that's giving everybody a little more flexibility if you're flying one of the big carriers. If you're flying the low-cost carriers, if you're on Spirit or Sun Country, you might be SOL when it comes to your flight out if it gets canceled.
Gunnar, for all the procrastinators out there who haven't maybe got their tickets yet and then they want to travel in the coming weeks here, how do you think this is going to affect flight prices?
It's an interesting point. I think because there are fewer flights in the sky, fewer seats usually means higher prices. But are there going to be enough people who are spooked by this and maybe say, I'm out, I'll try and fly again, maybe in December, maybe next year? That could be the case. So that could open up some spots as well. We'll see where the dust settles. If this thing lasts enough weeks in a row here where we're kind of getting into the Thanksgiving travel season, I mean, first of all, that's going to be a total mess. And second of all, it could lead to some good kind of last minute deals for people if they really know where to look.
Gunnar, is there a particular time to fly that maybe you're going to have a less risk of a delay or cancellation? I think that there's this old adage, and I subscribe to the theory of the first flight out is usually the most on time. Is that actually true, or is that just kind of an urban myth, if you will?
No, it is true. I've crunched the numbers on this. The first flight of the day is always the most likely to operate, and it goes down a few percentage points every hour throughout the day. The last flight of the day is always the worst. So I always recommend, especially when they've issued travel waivers like this, go rebook yourself on the first flight of the day. Yeah, it really stinks getting up in the 4s and the 5s to get to the airport for that 6 a.m. flight, but you're going to get to where you want to go more often than not when you fly that first one of the day. That's what I did for my trip. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going home to Chicago. And I rebooked myself right on the first flight of the day, and I'll be up before the sun, but I suspect I'm going to get to Chicago. So it's always worth it. I recommend, especially when delays and cancellations are popping up in times like this, go get that first flight.
Gunnar, do you think it's at this point, do you think people should maybe look at alternatives to flying possibly, or do you think it's still better to probably take the risk of buying a flight at this point? Because, I mean, should people look into maybe renting a car or taking a train to their destination?
Yeah, if an alternative is there for you, I'd recommend having as many options as you can. And that includes alternate flights. So go book yourself a totally refundable flight. It's going to cost you a little bit more. But if you have a refundable flight next to the one you've already booked and your flight gets canceled at the last minute, then at least you have something. You can go get the refund for your old flight. You have your new one. Make sure you set yourself a reminder to not forget to cancel the refundable one, though, so you're not just using it as a burner ticket and still having to fit the bill in the end. But leave yourself as many options as you can in times like this. It's always good to have a backup plan. If you can rent a car and go, that might make sense for you, especially for a shorter trip.
Gunnar, what's the best pizza spot in Chicago for all the people out there?
Oh my gosh, don't do this. I'm going to have half the city coming after me. I'm going to have the whole city coming after me. There's no answer to this question that's not going to get me in trouble. But, you know, if you're visiting, just go to Lou Malnati's. They're going to do you right there. You'll do just fine.
What happened to Pequod's? What happened to Pequod's, Gunnar?
I'm trying to keep the secrets. That's why I want the locals all over me, man. They're coming for you if you give away their secrets.
They will. Pequod's is excellent pizza. Excellent pizza. Gunnar, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the insights. All the best to you, and hopefully you get everything safe this weekend to Chicago and back.
Thanks so much, guys.
Hopefully Gunnar made it to Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
To be determined, but
Yes.
I'm assuming that he made it. He's a thrifty traveler.
Yes.
One way or another, I'm sure that he made it down to the Windy City.
Yes. He was on the first flight out. We appreciated him being there. We appreciated everybody for tuning in all week. It's been a great week.
It's been a hell of a week. I feel like we've really covered. We always say we've covered it all. We've been all across the gamut, especially all the flight cancellations and delays. Shout out to everybody traveling.
Yep.
Shout out to everybody working at airports, because that scene it doesn't sound like it's an enviable position to be in for anybody on either side of the coin there.
No. And shout out to the good people at MSP. We on purpose the live shot at the beginning of the show today. Looked great. No line in security. The board looked pretty clean. So,
hey, it's the best airport in the country for a reason.
Yes.
Even in the middle of a government shutdown,
it's still going.
MSP is operating at full strength, or at least it looks like it is.
Absolutely. We will be at full strength on Monday. Yeah,
we'll be back at full strength, same time, same place. You got the whole weekend. Normally, you only got 23 hours. This time, you got the whole weekend. Do with it what you will. All I ask is one thing. Make sure you skol on Sunday, and make sure you come back here on Monday.
Well, can't people listen to you on Sunday after the game?
They can listen to me after the game. They can also listen to the game, KFAN 100.3, KFAN Sports Radio, or the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to PA and Pete call the game expertly as they do, but you can meet us back here same time, same place on the afternoon shift, Fox 9 on Monday. In the meantime, I'm Max Fuller.
Adam Lorenz.
The 5 o'clock news starts now.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
Well, hi there, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 9 and streaming on Fox Local. Our top story here tonight at 5 o'clock is a state lawmaker and others in social media are questioning now why the federal food benefits payout program in Minnesota soared in recent years. Now, the program went from shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars a year to nearly $2 billion a year. Our Mike Manzoni took a look at the data, and Mike, the state is blaming this one on a reporting mistake, right? Oh, we're going to go to Jennifer McDermott here first, who's got a look at your weather on the nines. Jennifer?
Yeah, right now it's been a bit of a chilly day for us. We've had a few sprinkles roll through, and a cold front did move through earlier today, and that's what's allowing us to see those colder temperatures push into the state right now as well. Overnight, we did reach that daytime high just slightly after midnight. And ever since then, our temperatures have been falling throughout the day. And right now, temperature of 42 degrees. But as you can see, we're staying underneath that cloudy sky, and we'll continue to hang on to the cloud cover here for the next couple of days, all due to a storm system that is going to be moving through once again as we push into our forecast tomorrow, bringing in the colder temperatures, reinforcing really that shot of cold air and giving us the chance for maybe some flurries as we head into the next couple of days. Live look outside, no boats out there. Nope, White Bear Lake. Very quiet right now this evening. 42 is our current temperature. Winds from our northwest at 14 miles an hour. Those winds, though, they will be picking up as we work our way into Sunday. Therefore, the winds from the northwest becoming strong. That's going to only reinforce that shot of cold air, and it will be giving us some very, very bitterly cold wind chills, at least temperatures we haven't touched so far this season. How cold we get this weekend, Tim, and how long the cold air stays with us, we'll have a look at that coming up.
All right, sounds good. Well, the Trump administration is seeking an emergency pause now to a court order that's demanding November SNAP payments to be paid in full. A federal judge had ordered the White House to fully fund SNAP benefits today. Now, the ruling follows a challenge from cities and nonprofits that complained that the administration only wanted to cover 65% of SNAP. 42 million Americans rely on SNAP for food, including nearly 500,000 right here in Minnesota. It costs about $8 billion a month, and the judge says the government needs to find that money by the end of today. Well, the struggle over SNAP benefits hits especially hard in rural Minnesota. 45% of the state's recipients live outside of the Twin Cities metro. Our Corin Hoggard visited Blue Earth to see why the grocery benefits are so important for the entire rural communities.
Carrots and canned peas are not exactly flying off the shelves at Juba's Super Value. The only grocery store in Blue Earth serves about 1,300 customers a week at 4 registers. But the numbers are shrinking, especially with delayed SNAP funding.
A lot of us local, small-town grocery stores, our sales are declining, our customer count is declining, and this is just kind of a punch in the gut for us.
In Faribault County, about 10% of residents are using SNAP benefits. And so without them, a store like Juba's would suddenly be selling a lot fewer groceries.
We're losing out on sales, which ultimately means we're losing out on profit. And, you know, we use our profit, which isn't big. Grocery stores don't make huge profits, and that could mean layoffs.
A lot rides on Thanksgiving, which is like Christmas in the grocery business, the biggest holiday of the year. Tim Juba had to order turkeys and stuffing months in advance. Without SNAP customers, he's expecting a lot of leftovers he can't sell. And when a rural grocery store suffers, it trickles down to the rest of the community.
The economic impact is huge. It just doesn't rely on the people who are getting denied their SNAP benefits. It's a whole full circle. It's employees here, it's employees down the road, it's the other small shop owners here in town. Everybody's going to be losing out.
During the last Trump administration, the USDA estimated every dollar spent on SNAP benefits generated $1.54 in local economic activity. Without the funding, at least for now, the aisles are a little sleepy at Juba's, and Main Street is equally idle. A microcosm of rural Minnesota. In Blue Earth, Corin Hoggard, Fox 9.
Well, new here at 5, we've got a state lawmaker and others in social media that are questioning why federal food benefit payouts in Minnesota soared in recent years. That program went from shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars a year to nearly $2 billion. Our Mike Manzoni took a look at the data. And Mike, the state is really kind of blaming this on a reporting mistake. Is that what I get from this?
Tim, a mistake it says it made for at least 3 years now. The agency that administers SNAP says it included pandemic EBT payouts and then counted them twice. That error inflated the numbers. That does not mean any tax dollars went to the wrong place. It was just a mistake in how the state tallied those numbers. Here they are. Between 2020 and 2021, SNAP payouts shot from about $725 million a year to just shy of $2 billion. That's a 174% jump. The spike in 2021 to about $2 billion more or less stayed the same the next year, but in 2023, payouts suddenly dropped by about $400 million. The state says its reporting errors continued until at least 2023. That year, payouts stood at $1.5 billion, which is still more than twice what it paid back in 2020. Now, the USDA referred us to the state for comments. The state says it plans to correct those numbers that it submitted to the USDA when the shutdown ends. In the newsroom, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
All right, Mike. Well, another major story that we're following here tonight is the flight reductions at airports all across the country. So far today, more than 4,500 flights have been delayed within or out of the U.S. We got about 1,400 that have been canceled. And this is all according to the website FlightAware. Now, Minneapolis-St. Paul is one of the airports that's affected here. Our Leon Purvis is out at MSP, so got to tell you, what are you seeing there today so far?
Well, Tim, all the flights, or most of the flights rather, are on time. There are some that are canceled or delayed. Like there's a flight to DC that is canceled. There's a flight to Chicago that is canceled, but some are delayed. But most of them are on time for the most part. I mean, if you look over my shoulder, you can see pretty much the check-in is not as busy as it was earlier this afternoon. It was much busier, but it's died down. But, you know, walking in throughout the checkout area, I've been asking people, hey, are you waiting on a flight? Is your flight canceled? And I caught up with one traveler who's going to Newark this weekend, and she says her flight was delayed by 1 hour.
Right now, just an hour. It may be more, but what can I do about it? I heard yesterday that there is a possibility of my flight getting canceled, and that's hard being it's already Friday in the evening, so I wanted it to be ready to go.
Now, one thing Alexis is worried about is the travel back home, because she comes back Monday night, and after the weekend there could be more cuts, because right now it's only a 4% cut, and they plan to raise the percentage in the days to come. So she's worried about traveling back home on a Monday night, Tim.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of those kind of worries here in the next couple of days, and especially if this government shutdown stretches on to the next week, too. Thanks, Leon. Leon Purvis at MSP for us tonight. Okay, this weekend, we've got a lot of deer hunters that are going to be out in the woods because it's the start of the Minnesota gun deer season. We've got about 400,000 hunters that are going to be heading out there, hoping to bag a buck or a doe. The DNR reminds hunters to wear your bright orange, check your deer stands, and be safe with your firearms. The gun deer season, it runs 2 weeks until November 23rd. And the DNR is also asking hunters to stay alert here because officials, including the state's Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office, are asking people to report anything unusual that they may encounter in the woods. What anyone sees could help uncover clues in missing persons case. And today also marks 9 years since a hunter from Little Falls was found dead, and authorities have not given up on that case. His name is Terry Brisk. He was shot and killed with his own gun. Now, the 41-year-old father of 4 was hunting alone on his parents' property. This was back in 2016. And authorities say evidence at the scene suggested the shooter was in close proximity to Brisk, and they may have interacted. There's a $30,000 reward that's being offered for information. And with the deer season starting, everyone wants to know what the weather's going to be like. And I've got just the person with the answer. So let's get to your weather in the nines with Jennifer McDermott.
Yeah, Tim, if people are heading out to go to the hunting opener, or perhaps just, I don't know, kids have a soccer game or something outdoors this weekend, it's going to be cold.
You're going to have to bundle up.
It's going to be a weekend where you will want the big puffy jacket, the gloves. I just ordered my toddler some mittens because, yeah, we're there. It's going to be a cold weekend for us considering this time of the year. Our average high is about 46 degrees, and tomorrow for our Saturday, we are forecasting 38 degrees. We may have a couple of flurries here and there, but for the most part, the snow, the precipitation chances really are staying down towards our south, and they may just grace areas in extreme southwest Minnesota to the south and west of the Minnesota River Valley. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. But by Sunday, we're staying cold. In fact, colder than Saturday, with the daytime high near 33 degrees. And the winds will be from the northwest, gusting at 30+ miles an hour. Therefore, during the afternoon, during the day on Sunday, it will feel like the 20s, but during the morning time frame on Sunday, it will feel more like the teens, if not the single digits for some people. So yeah, if you're waking up early to go hunt on Sunday, that's going to be our coldest morning over the weekend. Here's a look at our futurecast as we advance throughout our Saturday. You can see that the snow chances really stay down towards our south and west. When we have a little bit of a warm up in our 7-day forecast, Tim. We'll have details on that coming up.
I can't wait. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, this is the time of year that a lot of people start their holiday traditions. And for some, that includes a visit to an historic train museum in St. Paul. We're going to get a look at the Night Trains exhibit. That's coming up. Plus, it's Purple Friday as the Vikings get ready for the Ravens. Our own Dawn Mitchell has a preview after the break. But first, here's a look at your drive times.
Shop Doc 86.
All right, 5:14 now the time. The Vikings, they're back home this weekend, and so are the Timberwolves. Our Dawn Mitchell joins us now for a big weekend in sports. Let's start with the Vikings here. J.J. McCarthy looking to return home, get his second straight win against the Ravens here. So how healthy are they looking, Dawn?
You know, Jim, that's like the golden question we have to ask Tim all year long, right? Because health has been the big thing with this team. So we have J.J. McCarthy, who's back healthy. His offensive line looks strong and healthy, and the defense looked healthy. So things are looking good. But we will tell you there are 2 gentlemen out and 2 questionable for this game on Sunday. So Jeff Okudah and Josh Oliver are listed as out for Sunday's game against the Ravens, and questionable is Theo Jackson and Aaron Jones. Now, we talked to Aaron Jones at the end of the game on Sunday, and, you know, he was trying to downplay his shoulder injury, saying, oh, you know, it's something I've had to deal with before, so I should be okay. But he's being questionable right now. But Kevin O'Connell did say that he was looking better as the tail end of this week progressed. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Aaron Jones. You know, another thing that Kevin O'Connell brought up today, and it was also echoed by his coaching staff when the coordinator spoke yesterday, is the team really wanted to extend their condolences to not only the Dallas Cowboys, but Marshawn Nealon's family and friends, because they said they knew Marshawn. Marshawn came in for extended interviews before the draft. So today, when Kevin O'Connell spoke to the media, he made sure to express his sympathies once again.
My goodness, yeah, that's such a tragedy down in Dallas.
Our condolences, after the tragic passing of Marshawn Nealon. We did host him for a visit during the draft process and got to know him pretty well. So unfortunate, and I talked to the team today, and it was not my first time referencing mental health with our team. Not only the resources that we have available, but how we are, in this building, we're each other's partners in mental health, and making sure the players always know I'm available 24/7, 365 days a year, to be whatever resource that I can personally be, but most importantly, the resources that we provide our guys that are so important. Mental health is a real thing, and it's something that's always on my mind in regards to not only our players, but as a former player, all NFL players.
Yeah, all NFL players. And Tim, I think the key point there is Kevin O'Connell has been there. He's been where the players are. He knows how hard this whole business can be. So for him to not only extend his condolences, but let everyone know just how much this can impact any player in any sport, but especially the NFL, was important today.
It really can. Let's talk about the Timberwolves here, because they're back home as well. What can we expect?
Yeah, they were gone for 3 out east, taking 2 of the 3, so that's pretty good, but they were just kind of blown out by the Knicks, so they want to erase that. But today is the beginning of the NBA Cup for the Wolves. Other teams have seen action. This is the first for the Wolves. So they're hosting the Utah Jazz, and they're in the group stage. So they're in West Group A. So that is the game that's going to be played tonight. So we'll see how deep they can get into the NBA. Just have embraced it, because there's also some dollar signs at the end of this for the players. So that begins tonight at Target Center against Utah. So keep your fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, right. So much happening this weekend. Thanks, Dawn. Okay, and I know a lot of you are perhaps just getting home. You've no doubt heard that the temperatures are going to start dropping. So let's get you caught up with your weather on the nines and Jennifer McDermott.
I wore the Uggs today.
Don't you wear them every day?
It's true.
Especially this time of year, yes.
I love Uggs. And it is Ugg season, my friends. Yeah, this weekend it's going to be cold. We're going to go below freezing for a good chunk of our forecast. We're going to be staying there. Live look outside downtown St. Paul, looking beautiful, but you can see that overcast still hanging around, mostly cloudy sky. 42 is our current temperature, dew point of 31 degrees, and winds from our northwest at 14 miles an hour. 31 in Hibbing, 41 in Red Wing. So earlier today we had a cold front move through, and you can see the temperatures already up towards our north and west are beginning to fall down into the 20s as well as the 30s. 30 for Bemidji, 25 currently in International Falls. miles. Winds coming in from the north-northwest sustained at about 5 to 15 miles an hour. They'll relax some for us overnight and into Saturday, but by Sunday, they'll really begin to ramp up once again. Overnight, 31 for our low, cloudy and colder. And then by tomorrow afternoon, we're really not going to climb much from the low. 38 for a daytime high, cloudy with a chance of flurries. It's not going to impact us unless you're not ready to see them, and maybe it'll make you mad. But otherwise, out on the roadways, it's not going to be impacting you. By tomorrow evening, 28 for a temperature by around 10 o'clock, and wind chills will begin to drop down into the teens. Tomorrow, we have the mostly cloudy sky. We have a little low pressure system that's going to just dance on by extreme southwest Minnesota. The snow, it doesn't look impactful by any means, but some areas like Fairmont, Windham, Worthington, you may have a little bit of snow dusting on the grass, but otherwise, most of us are going to be staying dry and quiet, just on the cold side. By Saturday afternoon, we're staying cloudy, and then by Sunday, we'll see some peaks of sun here and there, but mainly cloudy. And on Sunday, we'll have a little disturbance float on by in the upper layers of our atmosphere, and that may spark a chance for a couple of flurries. Again, not looking super impactful, but something worth mentioning, I suppose. And then by Sunday morning, this is definitely worth mentioning. The wind chills will feel like the single digits as well as the teens by around 7 o'clock on your Sunday morning. 12 for feels like in the Twin Cities, 5 in Bemidji, and even towards the Vikings kickoff at lunchtime at noon on Sunday, it will feel like the teens for a majority of us across the state. Here's our 7-day forecast. 38 for your Saturday, 33 on Sunday with a chance of flurries, and then 37 by Monday. But then by Veterans Day, Tim, temperatures begin to rebound. 49 for the daytime high on Tuesday, and then we stay sunny for a good chunk of the mid parts of next week, and we stay warmer than, relatively speaking, where we are right now at least, but back to near average in the mid to upper 40s, so not too bad. Just a chilly weekend, a weekend to go buy some Christmas lights and ornaments.
No, stop it.
All that fun stuff.
Thanksgiving first, please.
I went to the department store this morning, and
it's Christmas everywhere.
I had to hold myself back. I was like, don't do it. Do not buy those ornaments. Don't do it. It took everything in me.
Yeah. Well, restraint. Just take a deep breath, right? Okay, sounds good. You know, let's talk about more holiday traditions, because we got one that's been around for nearly 90 years now, and it returns to the Twin City Model Railroad Museum this weekend. We're going to give you a preview next year at 5. So one of the most nostalgic holiday events in the Twin Cities opens for the season. Coming up tomorrow, this is the night trains at the Twin City Model Railroad Museum. Now the lights are dimmed and the trains and miniature towns, they're all glowing with the holiday cheer. And throughout the museum, which by the way is 18,000 square feet, they've got several train layouts of various scales and sizes, including a Lego train layout.
Yeah, we just added the Macy's facade this year and brought the parade to the front of our layout, and the plan is to have different holiday features with each parade as the seasons change.
Now the night trains runs Saturday evening starting tomorrow, and this goes through February during the event. All right, travelers are facing a lot of widespread flight cancellations as the government shutdown and staffing shortages disrupt air travel all across the country. Why officials say that reducing flights are really necessary at this point. Plus, Minnesota United FC, the playoff run continues this weekend. Our Pierre Nugent sits down with the team's head coach all ahead of tomorrow's big match. And then we have the outrage in Southern California from the survivors of the fires there. The city of LA now facing a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. We're going to take you live to California coming up at 5:30.